Welcome to Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living, Wednesday morning inspirational service. So happy that you joined us this morning. Welcome to all of you online. We're so happy that you're with us, and welcome to all of you in the sanctuary. Let's begin with prayer. Let's turn within for a moment here. And so we just remember in this moment, whatever came before this moment, we just remember right now that God is and all is well, that there is just this one life. And this one life is good. This one life is whole, it's perfect, it's complete. And this one life is the very life that is living through and as me and through and as each one who is partaking in the service and everyone that concerns us. Everyone, everywhere is a unique divine emanation of the one. How beautiful it is to know that everything is divine, everything is sacred. We can never be apart from God or the sacred. We can turn our attention away, but we always are one and present with the divine, and the divine is present with us because we are one with the divine. And so in that awareness of our oneness with the ultimate, of our oneness with all possibility, potentiality, all love, all joy, all peace, all substance, I just bless the service. I know it is so, so perfect. I know that our speaker, Reverend Katherine McKinney, is just divinely inspired, divinely supported, divinely loved, and that love and that divine wisdom just pour forth through her so beautifully. And I know that those of us who are listening, that we are also bringing forth our energy, and it's a divine dance, a beautiful divine dance where everyone receives and gives exactly what there is theirs to give and receive. So I bless it, I call it good, I am grateful, I release this word. We establish it together with the words, and so it is. Yes, good morning, or some people say good God morning. Guess what we have here first? Announcements. Yes. We cannot do without announcements, you know. We got to let everyone know all these great things that are going on. So let's see. Tomorrow, we start this class with me, the Essential Ernest Holmes, which is some of the greatest writings from our founder, Ernest Holmes. And it's going to be a really great class. It's 8 weeks. You can still join the class. We start tomorrow. And it'll be at 6 p.m. in Richelieu Hall. You can sign up right outside with Doris at the front desk. Today, after service, is our labyrinth walk. So if you feel like getting that beautiful meditative experience, you can walk right on out of here, walk over there, and the labyrinth will be laid out for you to do that walk and have that experience. You are invited by Reverend Katherine McKinney, our speaker today. You are invited to our graduation ceremony this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. right here in the sanctuary with a reception to follow in Richelieu Hall. And it's the graduation of our School of Spiritual Leadership, which is where we train ministers. So if you come here, you'll get to see who are these new blooming ministers that are coming forth in our movement, which is always exciting because, you know, if we're not putting out new ministers, then we're eventually, so it's very important that we continue to train new ministers. And I remember, 21 years ago when I became a minister. That's amazing, and how beautiful a journey it is. So attend the graduation on Saturday. This Sunday, myself and Vincent Topaldo from our board, our treasurer, Mark Ruth from our board, the three of us are going to do a workshop. Really, it's an information session on our new Acorn Giving Program, which is really about how do we plant seeds for all those that come long after we're gone. Like those that came before us, they planted those seeds that allowed us to be here today and do all the great things we're doing. How do we participate in that same kind of process? So you might be surprised about some of the ways that you can give and some of the ways that you can plant those seeds that might not have occurred to you before. So come join us. There's no obligation. You're just going to hear some information and ask questions, and that's it. So join us after service Sunday at 12:30. Also, the Women's Circle will be meeting Sunday at 12:30 in the teen room. We have a new grief support group that's going to start next Tuesday, Tuesday the 10th, and it'll be at 6, it doesn't say it here actually, but it will be at 5 p.m. We're going to meet for an hour and a half. It'll be at 5 p.m. So if you feel you want some healing around grief, come join us for that. And we'll take you through a process. There's a book called The Grief Recovery Handbook that I believe we still have copies in the bookstore that we'll be using. Ecstatic Dance has a new day and time. It would be Wednesday, June 11th, which is, wow, a week from today. Amazing. We're going to dance again. That's really exciting. Also, we have a study group in Spanish. So if you want to do earnest tomes in Spanish, this thing called You, Elaine Yuzuki, next Thursday, June 12th at noon, will be leading a study group in Spanish. How good is that? If you've already mastered it in English, come down to it in Spanish. Come join our Juneteenth celebration, Sunday, June 15th, after service. There's some flyers out there about that. We also have a new divine dining event on Wednesday, June 25th, a high tea party. Who wants to do high tea? Put your little pinky finger out and drink the high tea. With artist and teapot collector Cynthia Joyce at her art studio and gallery at her home in Manhattan Beach. 8 to 12 guests with an opening bid of $35. Bidding closes on June 22nd. Flyers for all of our events can be found out there in the foyer, in the lobby. For a full list of activities, you may also see our e-newsletter and our Spirit Speaks magazine. And finally, a big thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers. We appreciate you all so much. It's amazing how many volunteers it takes to run a place like this. This place, a spiritual community is really run by volunteers. There's a few of us who are on staff, but mostly it's all orchestrated and run by volunteers. So thank you all so much. And take a breath. I know I need to. And let us welcome warmly and lovingly our wonderful speaker, Reverend Katherine McKinney.
Thank you, Reverend Gregory. It's always a pleasure to stand here and be a part of this service. I was hearing Reverend Gregory talk about the divine mind and all of us in his prayer treatment and how things unfold. And it really is so profoundly true to the degree that we allow all of that stuff to happen. And that's it. It's our willingness and our recognition of allowing that to happen. And so I have organized my thoughts today around this idea of make it obvious. And the idea comes from, it's a saying that Maureen Hoyt has shared with us. Maureen Hoyt is someone that is familiar to a number of us. And I have gone and we are going to allow this woman to sing. This is the second time I've forgotten it. So, yeah, well, we both did. So here we go. We're creatures of habit, I think, is what it is, and we just do it.
It's all good. It's all good. This is a song called Connected, and it's by Celia Farron. This body is healing. This mind is believing. I've made friends with grieving, and I'm connected to it all. This body is reeling. This heart is receiving. I've made friends with kneeling, and I'm connected to it all. And now I become to the heart. others start fraying. There is comfort in praying. I've made friends with staying, 'cause I'm connected to it all. And now I've become one with the one. And now I've become one with the all. There is peace within this here and now. 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 This body is healing and time is revealing. I've made friends with feeling, and I'm connected to it all. This body is reeling, this heart is receiving. I've made friends with kneeling, and I'm connected to it all. Yes, I'm connected to it all. Yes, I'm connected to it all. Yes, I'm connected to it all. I'm connected to it all. Yes, I'm connected to it all. I'm connected to it all. Yes, I'm connected to it all. I'm connected to it all. Yes, I'm connected to it all. Yes, I'm connected to it all. I'm connected to it all.
And yes, there's the volume. Thank you so much, my dear. And we're going to get this right. It is what it is. So as we step into the moment and allowing ourselves, and I'm just setting a timer for myself here, I started talking about the idea of make it obvious. And I took this statement from Maureen Hoyt. Now, when I first came to this center, Maureen Hoyt was the senior minister up at Granada Hills, and she was a big, and still is, a big friend of this center. She and Dr. Moira and Sue Rubin and a couple of other ministers just were here for different events. They spoke here. They were a big part of us. And Maureen Hoyt has this unique way of speaking, and she has these little pithy sayings that she uses that stick in your mind. And one of them is, when it's right, make it easy. And when it's wrong, make it obvious. So I love that, and I started thinking about this, and I chose the make it obvious, more than a week ago. And wouldn't you know that when you make a decision like that, your consciousness just pulls in all kinds of different ideas that actually challenged my complacency with that expression. When it's right, make it easy. And when it's wrong, make it obvious. Now, the right, make it easy, I think I'm still good with, because there are times when it just feels right and it is easy and it's what unfolds. But when it's wrong, make it obvious. What I discovered is I recognize my own discomfort with the obvious. Because if it's obvious that it's wrong and you're either going to change something, need to change something, or not do something, it's like, what is the next question? How do I find out what's easy? And there's another fork in the road. And I hadn't thought about that until I sat with it for a bit. So this is where I'm coming from, and I have a whole lot of different parts that are moving through my brain. But I started thinking about pandemic and the time when we stepped away from lots of things, and there was this incredible new disease that was on the scene. We were isolating ourselves. And then everyone was looking forward, I thought everyone was looking forward to the time when we had a vaccine and we could all get healthier and not fear being around people, et cetera, et cetera. Well, as it turns out, that wasn't the case. There are many people who didn't like that vaccine and who absolutely refused to take that vaccine. Now, I'm not arguing against that or for that. I'm just saying that that fact happened. And so when it happened, I know there was a wringing of hands, literally, in social media. Columnists I read, I remember one in particular was so upset because her sister in Indiana was not going to get the vaccine, and the writer was so sure she was going to die. And she was upset. This is her sister. She didn't want to lose her. And that whole challenge of how we deal with people who disagree with us, it was obvious we disagreed, but then the what to do about it was a whole nother question, right? And so then what came along, psychologists weighed in on these are the steps to take when you're in your family and there's disagreements and there are things you can do and there's step. But the bottom line really was to find common ground. And with family, it's the love of family and the relationships we have and what we nurture, and we set the other stuff aside. Now, when it's other differences of opinion, like some of us may have that in this particular time, it's not as easy to set aside. But what came through for me is regardless of what's going on in the world, what's going on in your own life, if there's someone that you want to help you or someone that you want to get along with, or for any reason you want to have a relationship with someone who has different opinions than you do, then finding common ground is the idea that we want to at least consider for ourselves. So as it just so happens, I was reading actually not that long ago, several days ago, an article about a number of people, and this is a recent article in Time magazine, about people who are doing just that, who are finding common ground in this current situation to get things done that they're interested in. And so one of them is someone that I was picking out to talk about, and her name is Katherine Coleman Flowers. She is born and raised in Lowndes County, Alabama. Now, I'm from Alabama, and that's partly why I picked this. Lowndes County is a little to the south and to the west of Montgomery County, so it's kind of in the middle of Alabama. And so it is a profoundly backward place in terms of the progress they've made in the 20th century. I can remember when I was living in Alabama, in North Alabama, my kids were in a very good school system. They had a tremendous, they were gifted programs. There were all kinds of wonderful things for them. And I saw photographs of the textbooks used in the public school system in Lowndes County, and they looked like some that were older than the ones I used when I was in Mobile County, Alabama. I'm not exaggerating. And so, and in every way, that town just has not been able to move forward. And so Carolyn grew up in Lowndes County, but she left. She has degrees. She worked in corporate America. She did a number of things and even taught in schools in Washington, D.C. at one point. But she decided to go home. She decided to go home because she wanted to make a difference. And so many of her friends who were activists, if you will, were assuming that she'd go work on voting rights acts or other kinds of things like that. And that's not what she wanted to do. She moved there, and she started a redevelopment corporation. She established it for the purpose of bringing businesses into Lowndes County, thinking that would help with employment, that would lift the cost, the amount of money that was available for things to do to make their lives better. And after a couple of years, she realized that businesses would not come to Lowndes County because of the lack of infrastructure. Who thinks about that? But they didn't have it in Lowndes County. Now, this is not Alabama-wide. There's a county to the east of Montgomery County that we drive through from Atlanta going to Montgomery. My husband's from Montgomery. And there's a Kia plant there. I mean, so it's huge manufacturing. Can you imagine the infrastructure that they have, both in terms of water and electricity and all those things? That's what she was hoping for Lowndes County. They don't have it. They didn't have the power. They certainly did not have the resources in terms of just sewer systems. It's a very rural county. Most everyone is on a septic tank, and maybe not very good. And they even discovered along the way that most of them are failing. And so in 2017, now this woman started in 2000 when she came back, trying to work in different areas. In 2017, they discovered that over 40% of the residents of Lowndes County had raw sewage bubbling up into their yards. So this is the deprivation that she's dealing with. But what this woman has done is ignore the people who don't agree with her, ignore the politics. She won't even talk about it. She has found common ground with some very conservative senators and representatives from the state of Alabama, both past and present, to find ways to bring programs in. And one of them was collection of data so she could at least prove the points that I was just sharing with you. You can say they're not coming because of infrastructure, but if you're a business person, you need to know, what is that infrastructure? Can you show me that you have it or you don't have it? And if you want to get someone to help you, you have to demonstrate what we don't have. And so she's thinking this way, so she gets the nuts and bolts together so that she can demonstrate that. She's even had an audience with one of the sultans of the Middle Eastern countries, who's an oil and gas person, and she was criticized for sitting down with someone like that. She didn't. She doesn't care who she sits down with. If this man can help her, she said, anyone who can help me, can do what I need to do, that is one less thing I have to do. Because she has her eye on a bigger prize, which is moving that idea of the people who live there, raise their standard of living over time. And she has so many projects going that it's hard to imagine how all of the things she has done over time, but they're little things. It may not even mean anything if I could say what they were. But I don't know if you remember the name Brian Stevenson. He's gotten a lot of imprisoned people who were convicted with DNA and different things that turned out to be false. He has gotten a number of people released. He's an attorney, and he has a Liberty and Justice Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. I've been there. It's quite a testament to many, many things. He's a powerful force, and what he says of her is that what Katherine is trying to do is open up new conversations about what it means to look at problems. And see, most of us see a problem in a certain way, and we don't necessarily, we want to talk about the problem, and we want to argue perhaps about the problem. It's been the nature of what we do, and she has just wiped that off the map. And so what does that mean for you and for me? I think what it says to me is that all of us can find ways to find common ground when we have things to do or with problems that we are not sure how to solve. And going back to the pandemic situation, I didn't argue with people about that particularly. I was definitely going to get vaccinated. It isn't because I don't understand resistance. I am someone who has never had a flu vaccine, never. I also have never had the flu. And so I have been exposed. Bob McKinney had a severe case of it. I wasn't even married to him, but his brother moved out. And so I went and fixed him some food. I knew I wasn't going to get the flu long before I heard of religious science. I just knew I wasn't. And I never have had the flu. So I don't get a flu vaccine. I thought this was different. It's a new disease. We've never had this virus before, etc. But the real reason is my granddaughter was yet to be born. I intended to be there for her coming out party, and the hospital required that I be vaccinated in order to be there. It's a no-brainer. Shoot me as many times as you want, and that's what I did. And so I don't regret that for a minute, but I can say I at least understand why some people might not. But I just let that go. And so that's part of it. But I think another thing is I have had some situations where I did not know what the answer is. When we moved into our house, and we've been in there 6 years, right away we discovered, and our owners knew about this and just didn't disclose it. It's just what happened. And so there was a gas leak. We're talking methane gas, what we call natural gas. There was some black soil in our yard. We got looked at, and the gas guy said, "You're red tagged because this is leaking right here, this gas." So we had to do a workaround for that particular thing, and we did. But inside our house, after we were in, Bob and I and Maureen and whoever was in there, every now and again, we'd smell gas. We could smell it. So I got gas people out 3-4 times. They replaced parts of the oven. They did all kinds of things, but they never could find the gas leak. And yet, we knew it was there. Well, see, that's obvious, isn't it? That is an obvious thing. It's wrong and it's obvious. But what to do about it? Well, I'm a person who loves to cook. I cook from scratch. I do a lot of cooking. I love gas stoves. I really enjoy doing it. But I realized the gas stove is something I needed to get rid of. I no longer trusted that whatever piping they could put in there could get rid of the leak for sure. My grandchildren don't need to breathe methane gas. Not only do we not to breathe it. So it was obvious. Is it expensive? You better believe it is. I have an induction oven, and without even thinking about this talk, I will say I've been cooking a lot over the last weekend, and I realized I love that thing. If you've never cooked on an induction oven, you have no idea. It leaves gas in my dust. And so it was obvious, yes, but getting there took a bit. And so that's why when it's wrong, it might not be easy. She didn't say, Maureen, when it's right, make it easy, and when it's wrong, make it easy. She just said obvious. And so when it's obvious, then it's up to us to figure out what is my part to do about what I think is wrong. I know we've all been upset about the fires in the north of us and all of the stuff that happened. We talked about it on Wednesday sometime, about what we can do to help. And there's always, whatever it is that feels wrong to us, there's always something we can do. And even if we can't physically do something, we can absolutely know that there is a divine idea that we can lift up and support. We can support with our own meditation and prayers and know that whatever needs to happen is happening in the mind of God now, and I am supporting that in whatever way comes to me to support. That's not hard. It's committed, and it is something to do. There are many, many things going on in the world, and some of us only have a certain amount of time in a day and may already do more things than we need to do, but we have to take care of this part first. When Reverend Gregory talked a couple of Sundays ago about the mind and the body, I'm so resonating with that. The book that we're reading now in our reading group, the seminar lectures by Ernest Holmes, brings that into play. And he's talking about when you blanket anything with love, he uses the word cover fear or hate with love. Love wins. And that's what he says. Now, is that easy to do when somebody's standing in front of you and being awful, in your opinion? To just love them where they are? And yet, today, I read that is what Ernest Holmes is saying. That is what we do. And the more we do that, then the more we just spread love. He even talks about filled with love, you may sit down to a very, very sad person. And wouldn't you know that love just radiates from you in a way that covers the sadness, that covers the negative? Because that's the teaching. Love is greater than any hate and any fear. It covers that. That's his word. And so whatever antagonism that we feel about whatever's going on, what I'm inviting us all to do is not surrender to the antagonism, but simply to know that there is a power for good in the universe. And I not only can use it, I am using it, and I'm going to continue using it to whatever I'm called to do. And each of us is this unique expression of God, and we will be called to do different things. Different things. And whatever that is, you'll know. You give yourself time, and you will know. And so that's what you do today, whatever that is. And I know that many of us have things buried within us that we're not even aware are there, that cause fears, that cause anxiety, that cause different things in our lives. But by and by, we can release everything if we simply take the time to meditate, as we are given twice a week in this center, and take the time in contemplation of that thing that troubles us. There is nothing and no one that can enter that level of consciousness for you. You are the one. And you are the one who can do it and will be doing it for yourself. Life is changing all the time. So let's change in a way that serves us. And not just serves me now, but serves me in the moments to come and the days and the weeks to come. And the world does change when we change. It absolutely does. And so what I'm looking for on the count of 3 is an amen, if you're willing to do that. And so here we go. 1, 2, 3. Amen. And so it is. Thank you all for your amen. I appreciate it. And now we have the wonderful Ruthie, who's back with us again. She's going to pass the plate, and we are going to share from the bounty of our goodness. And we are putting up here on the screen all the different ways that you can give. And it's a variety of ways. There's that telephone number. You can just dial that number, 424-379-3733. You can donate that way. You can also use this wonderful scanning thing. I don't know if you've ever done it, but you ought to try it. It's kind of fun to do. And we can just do the good old email way or the Safari, the browser way, redondo.org/donate. And it goes right into our bank account. And and of course the checks and cash are always welcome. I'm personally one of those people who does it electronically because that way I won't forget and I have a nice record and keep up with it. And that's what I like to do. Your way is your way. And so I invite you to do that. So as we celebrate our gifts, I invite you, whether you give it electronically, if you hold it in your hand now, join with me as we affirm. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love, and so it is.
I see the beauty in you. see the power in you. I see the greatness in you, and so it is. I see the child in you. I see the sweetness in you. I see the softness in you, and so it is. I can see it. It's right here before me. I can feel it deep in my soul. I can know it, that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the goodness in you. I see the wisdom in you. I see the strength that's in you, and so it is. I see the joy that's in you. I see the light shining through. I see the love that's in you, and so it is. Yes, I can see it. It's right here before me. I can feel it, that you are my soul. Yes, I know it, that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the grace that's in you. I see the courage in you. I see the heart that's in you, and so it is. I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you, and so it is. I see the greatness in you, and so it is. I see the greatness in you, and so it is.
So we come to the part in our service where I invite any comments that anyone wants to make or questions that you would like to ask. And I know there's a trusty microphone that you will be given the opportunity to use. And also, if you're interested in some specific prayer, you will include that as well. So does anyone have a hand? And it's David Bryan.
That was so uplifting, Reverend Katherine. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, David.
Very good. I have a family who I can't find the common ground with them. I haven't been able to for several years now, since they grew up. And I'm wondering, do you have any ideas of how to find common ground when they're not willing to meet me halfway, or not willing to meet me?
Right. Are you saying they don't take your calls or they won't meet you at all?
Yeah.
Well, I think you can't make anybody do it.
Right, right. Yeah.
So I'm not sure that there's a better way, but what I could encourage you to do, I know you're a man of faith and you're a man who likes to do things. And so if you meditate essentially on that opening, think about the family member that you would like to, I'm going to use the word reconcile, and that might not be the best word for you, and see what just comes up. I mean, sort of spitball, if you will, about ideas about what you might say, what might encourage a response of some kind. Is it local enough that you can invite them to meet somewhere, or is it farther away?
It's Rancho Palos Verdes.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
And I would suggest if it ever comes to that, meet at a park. There's plenty of those up there. So
Yeah.
they're beautiful places to meet. If you, just as a thought, but you will have to come up with what is particular for that person. And it is, I don't even want to know really what the contention is,
Right.
but you know. And so having that being mindful of that and what is a bigger idea than that is, whatever. You've disagreed about something, let's say, and whatever is a bigger idea, I would explore that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have the
No,
pithy answer.
I mean, that's a good opening.
Well, it really needs to come from you anyway,
It does,
honestly.
right.
Yes, okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. That is really a very useful question considering what we talked about. Someone else has a microphone? Oh, no. Vincent still has it. Anyone else? It is, it really was profound for me to read about, as I said, I mentioned the woman because she's from Alabama, and because it seems like she's trying to do such impossible things, but is still making progress that impressed me. But there were others who have simply, politicians even. One used to be the majority leader in the Senate, and he just disagrees with certain things, but he's not disagreeing. He is a doctor, a medical doctor, was practicing before he went into politics, and he is focused on what is important to him, and that's health and well-being and how certain policies interfere with that. And so he's focusing on that. That's it. He's not disagreeing with anyone. And see, every one of the people that I read about found different things to do, but it was important enough that they looked for them. And that's essentially what I'm suggesting. Many of you may not have raised your hand, but there may be people, things, more profoundly, there just may be issues in the world that you just feel disturbed about. I understand. I truly understand. It's just that being disturbed yourself does no one any favors, especially you. And so finding ways to know that I don't know how it happens, but good comes from this. See, that's part of Make It Obvious. I've had a number of things happen to me that I did not like. I mean, my computer turned into a brick. My contractor did not give me the kitchen I wanted. And all of that's happened this year. And knowing in the back of my mind that good comes from things is a powerful thing. I learned that here. I didn't know that way back when. And I know that now. I certainly know the words, and you all know the words. So you just keep saying them to yourself. Only good comes from this. Only good comes from this. And allow that to simply resonate with you. Because I think many of you don't have to have a question, but we all have these things that we don't like. I know, again, going back to the fires, I hung on all of the words as the fires were still raging, and I was reading about what was happening and the people who lost so much stuff, and it was hard not to. And at the same time, what I'm seeing now periodically is groups that are coming together to do things better than they were. That's what they're doing. That's their way of getting better. Yes, there are opportunists who come in, let me buy up your property so I can make even more money off of it. There's that. But there's also good that comes as we all actively do things. I have to tell you, I haven't even read the article, but the headline below the fold of the LA Times was, it looks like there's going to be a ban on gas appliances in the future in California. And so I'm telling you, methane gas has become an idea. They branded natural gas. That's just what they decided to call it a long time ago, like it really is natural, as opposed to cows belching methane. And so it is, but it's a dangerous chemical. And I loved gas appliances, and I was so happy, natural gas. But I was under a false impression about it. And believe me, those coiled up electric stoves were awful too. I mean, they really were. I had those from time to time. But an induction oven, more expensive, absolutely. But my gosh, they're really cool. You ought to, if you know somebody who has one, a relative or someone or see a demonstration, you ought to see how well it works. I'm not trying to sell them, truly. I'm not. I have no money invested. So, any other questions? And I did tell you they were expensive, so I'm not. Yes. Say again? You're going to say so everyone can hear. I'm sorry.
Has the lady in Alabama had any more successes since?
She's had a number of small things. She's gotten people to come in and help. I think eventually she wants to get enough infrastructure in so that she can bring in the jobs. Because once she can do that, everything changes for Lowndes County. But you also have to recognize that the people who live there, they think it's going to always stay just like it is. They're just stuck in almost the 19th century, certainly the early part of the 20th century, unpainted, houses and shacks that when it rains, see, climate change has also brought a lot of rain to Alabama, and that's part of the reason sewage floats up, and they just don't have good sewage. But actually knowing that they could quantify, that they were able to quantify it, now there is a program that they're applying to get that assistance. And so I'm just knowing for them that it does happen for the people of Lowndes County. And I remember what she also said at the end of this article. Somebody was asking, aren't you disappointed that with the changes that are happening in the current administration that you're not going to be able to get anything done? And she wouldn't go there. She just simply wouldn't go there. And she said exactly, she said, throughout rural America, people are living without working sanitation. And that's a problem, whoever is in the White House. And so that's the way she's choosing. This is an issue that needs to be addressed, period. It doesn't matter what they're saying. And when you know that, I believe she is going to get what she needs and what they need. That's a good question. Thank you, Gabriella. Anyone else? So, by the way, my grandson does that. I love that boy. So as we come together, let's go out in the world and make the difference that each of us can make. I just know it's possible. So let's do it. And so it is.